So when you're on a Route 66 trip, you have to have a navigator to your side. Thankfully, my wife PK's to my side. She's navigating, she's using the maps, she's using the books. I know some of you out there are using the apps to do this, but sometimes you get lost and other times you get lost and glad you did. More on that in a moment. Howdy folks, welcome to Meandering Across America. In today's Route 66 Spotlight video, we are featuring the stretch of Old Dirt 66 from San Jon, New Mexico, all the way to Glenrio, Texas. So, we mentioned earlier, sometimes you get lost all over Route 66 when you go down a path. You look at the maps, you run into a dead end. You have to turn around, maybe go to the other side of the road, because so much of it is access roads on the side of I-40. You run into another dead end. We're going to do a video sooner or later talking about all the dead ends that you can run into and that we experienced along the way. Also, there's sometimes you're going underneath bridges, underneath places that are maybe washed out in certain seasons and you don't want to go there. So you're always kind of looking down at the book and you're going, okay, is this a place I should be going through at this time of year, considering maybe this type of weather? Well, in this specific video, we are speaking to Old Dirt 66. So what we did in our experience, and we're of course showing you the video in the background as we're doing this, we were leaving Albuquerque going all the way to Amarillo, Texas on this day. Kind of a long stretch. If we had to do it over again, we would break that up into a couple of days or 3 days even with all there. But again, we were in November. We were in November on a Sunday, and we were trying to get to our next stop. What we have learned over time is something you don't want to plan so many miles in a given day. But as we were going along, we were following the book. I was speaking to my navigator, talking about, okay, this is what we have. What are we doing? You know, where are we going? Well, what I was told is that up in San Jon, New Mexico, we were going to get on I-40 and take it to the next good spot on I-40 on Route 66 that we could go through. So that was our plan. We got there and we could see San Jon. It was right at I-40, and we kept going and we were like, where's the exit and where's the exit? The next thing you knew, when you were looking at the GPS on our phone as we were going, because we really were not following, but we still would keep that up and going, is that it's those little horizontal pixelated things coming in where we were in a place where the GPS was not picking up. And so much of the time you can see Route 60, or you can see I-40 over on the side from Route 66. In this given case, we started saying, I don't see I-40 over there anymore. And we realized either A, we had taken a wrong turn, or B, we just missed getting on I-40 when we thought we were going to get on it. Well, we did. We missed it. And what we realized is at first the road was a pavement. Good deal. We went a little bit further and it kind of became gravelly. Okay, fine. Kind of like an old gravel road. And I think a car might have passed us at that point when we were still on gravel. But sooner or later it turned into dirt. And man, did it turn into dirt. And we were like, do we need to turn around? What's the deal? Well, we were thinking that one of the things that we read was if it had rained or if there was big weather before you got there, that perhaps you needed to consider not going on this stretch. And that's part of the reason we were getting on the interstate, is just these warnings. But there had not been a lot of weather, thank goodness. And we stayed on this road. This was Old Dirt 66 that went from San Jon to Glenrio. And we were planning on stopping in Glenrio anyway to see the ghost town. So we were headed on it now. It was too late to turn around. So here we were on our journey on Old Dirt 66. What an amazing road this was. I am so glad that we did not follow what we originally thought we were going to do. As you were going down this road, you saw so many things, but not vehicles. I think we passed one vehicle on the dirt portion of it. But as you went over the old bridges, as you would look to the right and see the old train tracks as we were going from west to east, you felt like you were really back in time. It was almost like the Wizard of Oz when you were in black and white world. That's what I felt like when I was on this part of Route 66. Well, this specific alignment of Route 66 existed from 1926 until 1952. So the cars would go along this path then, but after 1952, and of course I'm having to read some of this, Route 66 entered Glenrio after going, and it went on the north side of I-40 at that point, or what was I-4, what was going to be I-40. It went to the northern portion of it. You cannot drive that portion now. This is the portion that you can drive, and I'm glad it is still here because of the fact that it was no longer commissioned as such. It was not being taken care of. It was then the local area was the area that was responsible for keeping this road up. So at first they allowed it just to become a gravel road, and then it's a dirt road. And even though it was a very drivable dirt road, you could tell it's something that is in the past, something that is not being taken care of the best. But still, at least it's an open road that, and when it's not flooded or not rainy, where you would get caught in the ruts, you can still drive it. And it made me think of a lot of those old pictures that you see in the museums and online of cars going, coming west on Route 66 with all the big ruts in the road. I could see, in my mind's eye, people going down this road and getting stuck in that, and maybe getting stuck in the muck and the mire. That's what I saw here when we went down this road. Now, some of the things that you saw were old bridges. You would drive over these old bridges. You would see the sides of the old bridges. And I started researching that and trying to figure out, okay, what's the deal about these old bridges? Well, what I found out were there were some bridges built out of wooden cypress. There's one called the Wooden Cypress Bridge that's made of old timbers. It was built around 1930, and it was built out of pine timber, and the drivable portion was built out of laminated wood. So they were trying to do their best just to make these little bridges over the areas that perhaps when it did rain, which it rarely did in that area, when it did rain, it would not completely wash the road away. All in all, when you got to one of these old bridges, the first couple, it felt scary. I must admit, as I was going over it, we were in a minivan making this journey. My wife and I were in the front seat. My in-laws were in the seat directly behind us. We were already kind of amazed. We were on this old dirt stretch, and you would go over the bridges wondering, should we really be doing this? But I'm so glad we did. I never felt like anything bad was going to happen, but you could just imagine this hasn't been taken care of in the best ways. And of course, you could look to the side and then see all of those old railroad tracks. And it kind of terrified you because it's like, okay, why isn't this road like that? Well, the train hadn't come through forever in that given area. But the road was still somewhat taken care of, and you were still able to drive it all the way, all the way to Texas, all the way to Glenrio at that point. So again, no GPS wasn't there, no phone coverage wasn't there. We were worried, what if we pop a tire? We'd have figured it out somehow. We had a tire, I'm sure, to change, but it didn't happen. We didn't have to worry about it. But it's funny how all those things kind of start coming into your mind in this world of cell phones and GPSs and things like that. Just kind of amazing. The old railroad crossings for the Chicago and the Rock Island and the Pacific Railroad, you could see those all along the way. Pretty cool sight to see. All those wood bridges that those went over, and as well as the bridges that we were riding on and those little creeks that would form when it did rain in this given area. All awesome sights to see. Well, in the middle area, you would see this specific areas. I think it said, modern restrooms. It was past barred near the area of ND. Again, these are just areas. There's not really any houses in this specific area that anybody lives at. But you could see the old building that was still there, the modern restroom building that was still there. In the very middle, one of those iconic things that you see in pictures, and we're glad that we came along this way to be able to see it ourselves. So over the years, as we talked about, this 14-mile stretch has evolved from the concrete or asphalt to the dirt and the gravel portion of it. But as you can tell, we loved going on this stretch. We highly recommend you checking this stretch out. If you believe that the road is passable, it is part of Route 66 that does not have a lot of the old, or a lot of the newer, let's put it that way, types of places to stop at. It's not commercialized, but it's an area where you can drive through and tell, hey, This is like back in the day when you were driving from east to west to go out to Hollywood, to go vacationing, to go search for gold, whatever your situation was. You really do feel like you were on the mother road at that point. So yes, we mistakenly got on this road. We kind of panicked in the beginning, but we are so thankful that we did, and we suggest, hey, if you have this opportunity, definitely give it a shot. Go down this road. You will not regret it. Alrighty folks, thanks for watching. We have several videos related to Route 66. We have several of these spotlight videos specifically that we're doing as well. We have several long form videos as well where we're taking all of our footage from a given day. For example, on this one we were going from Albuquerque to Amarillo, of which this was a portion of that day. And then we're going in and doing these little spotlight videos of the specific places and talking about them specifically. So consider subscribing and putting that notification bell on as well. So until next time, happy meandering.